imagine a morning that never truly arrives. The alarm clock rings, the world wakes, yet outside the window the sky carries the weight of twilight. There is no warm beam crossing the horizon, no gentle glow touching rooftops, no promise of a sunrise. It is not night, but it is not day either. It is something in between, a muted half-light stretching endlessly. This is the first sign. The sun has not disappeared, but its brightness has fallen to a fraction of what we know. For reasons unknown, a mysterious dimming spreads through the solar system, and Earth feels it instantly. At first, people believe it is a strange weather phenomenon. But deep inside, a quiet unease rises. Light is more than comfort. Light is order. Light is the heartbeat of Earth. And now that heartbeat is faltering. On the first day, humanity is confused but calm. The temperature drops slightly, and a soft grey veil covers entire continents. Plants slow their photosynthesis almost immediately. In every leaf, in every blade of grass, microscopic reactions weaken. A tree that normally drinks the sun greedily now sips what little light reaches it. Power grids face unprecedented strain as cities switch on every lamp at once, trying to mimic the sky that no longer shines. Solar farms produce almost nothing. Airports struggle with visibility and cancel flights. The world feels like it is fading, and scientists rush to understand why. They measure wavelengths, radiation drops, and solar flux patterns that no longer match any known behavior. The sun is still there, but it is a weakened lantern hanging above us, a cosmic enigma gripping the planet. By the second day, the world cools further. Oceans begin losing heat from their surfaces. What seems trivial becomes alarming, because oceans act like thermal lungs, regulating global climate. As they cool, they shift air currents, creating unusual wind patterns. Deserts become cold in record time. Mountain regions drop to freezing conditions even at midday. In tropical zones, the change is milder, but even there, people wear jackets they do not normally own. Crops react almost immediately, pausing growth as if waiting for instructions. Farmers stand in silent fields under a grey dome, knowing that even a short interruption in sunlight can reshape entire agricultural cycles. Governments urge calm, but the truth is simple. Earth was built around the sun's energy, and even a temporary dimming rewrites every rule of life. On the third and fourth days, ecosystems begin to fail in ways that are subtle, yet deeply significant. Insects that rely on light cues for navigation struggle to find their way. Birds misinterpret the dimness as extended dusk and change their routines. Coral reefs, sensitive to even small changes in light and temperature, start to stress. Zooplankton, which rises and falls in the ocean following the rhythm of light, loses its biological clock. These tiny organisms feed most marine life. If they become confused, entire food chains risk collapsing. In forests, predators move more cautiously, herbivores hide longer, and nocturnal species stretch their activity into the day, making the boundaries between night and day dissolve like fading colors on a canvas. Life becomes uncertain, rhythm becomes unpredictable, and every creature feels the invisible pressure of a world off balance. Meanwhile, humanity faces its own challenges. Without sunlight, moods begin shifting. The brain relies heavily on natural light to regulate hormones like serotonin and melatonin. As days pass without true brightness, people become drowsier, more irritable, and less focused. Sleep cycles fracture. Some feel persistent fatigue, others stay awake at odd hours. In cities, artificial light fills every corner, yet it cannot fully replace the sun. It does not carry the same spectrum, the same warmth, the same psychological impact. Streetlights glow like desperate attempts to imitate the sky. Homes remain illuminated around the clock, creating a strange sense of timelessness. Without day to divide work from rest, time feels flattened. Hours blur. Life becomes a single continuous stretch of dim existence. But beneath all this, deeper dangers rise. Plants, the foundation of food and oxygen systems, begin entering critical levels of stress. After 4 days without strong sunlight, many species stop photosynthesis almost entirely. This does not kill them immediately, but it halts growth and reduces oxygen output. In large forests, oxygen levels remain safe but begin trending downward. In massive agricultural zones, crops show signs of nutrient imbalance. Farmers around the world send images of yellowing leaves, wilting stems, and halted development. Governments activate emergency protocols, not because food will run out in a week, but because plants under stress today mean shortages months later. The impact is not immediate hunger, but delayed scarcity. By the 5th day, temperatures drop more sharply. The global average falls several degrees. Lakes form thin layers of ice in regions where they should not. Clouds thicken as the atmosphere reacts to the cold, creating persistent fogs and unusual humidity levels. Coastal regions see stronger tides as ocean surfaces shrink and expand under uneven cooling. Winds shift, carrying cold fronts to places that have never known them. The weather becomes chaotic, not catastrophic, but unsettling enough for meteorologists to warn that Earth is entering a temporary destabilization. Energy consumption skyrockets as heating systems operate non-stop. Nations that rely heavily on solar energy begin rationing electricity. People gather indoors, seeking warmth and reassurance, feeling the weight of a sky that no longer glows. The 6th day marks a psychological turning point. Humanity realizes how fragile its normality truly is. News networks broadcast updates every hour. Scientists explain that Earth is not dying, but the sun's dimming has consequences far greater than imagined. They predict that ecosystems can endure, but only briefly. The planet can withstand a short absence of strong sunlight, but not much more. Hope and anxiety mix across the globe. In classrooms, teachers try to reassure children. In hospitals, doctors notice increased cases of stress and seasonal mood disorders. In quiet homes, people stare at the sky, searching for the brightness they once took for granted. The sun, a symbol of certainty, has become a symbol of vulnerability. Humanity confronts a truth it rarely considers. Light is not just illumination, it is existence. On the 7th day, Earth enters its most delicate moment. Temperatures approach levels that threaten crops on a massive scale. Entire regions report frost damage. Fisheries warn that plankton levels are dropping, animals behave erratically. Cities rely on artificial light so extensively that energy infrastructures strain at their limits. Satellites record global cloud coverage patterns never observed before. It is not chaos, but it is a glimpse of how quickly balance can crumble. Scientists warn that if the dimming lasts much longer, irreversible damage could begin. The world holds its breath. Time slows. People gather with their families, not because they expect the end, but because uncertainty makes connection more meaningful. In this dimmer world, human warmth becomes more important than ever. And then, without warning, the 8th morning arrives with a miracle. A faint ray appears on the horizon. It is small, like a thread of gold weaving through the grey sky. Birds react first. They tilt their heads, sensing a shift. Plants stretch microscopically toward the returning light. Ocean surfaces reflect a slightly brighter shimmer. Within minutes, the sky begins to glow with familiar intensity. Not fully at first, but enough to ignite hope. People rush to balconies and windows. Streets fill with astonished faces. Children point at the horizon as if seeing the sun for the first time. Humanity collectively exhales. A long weekend with the return of the star that shapes every heartbeat, every tide, every season, every story of life on Earth. As sunlight strengthens, Earth begins healing almost immediately. Temperatures rise slowly back toward normalcy. Plants resume photosynthesis as if waking from a long sleep. Animals recalibrate their routines. Oceans regain warmth. Atmospheric patterns realign. Recovery will take time, but life is resilient. The planet does not forget how to function. It reawakens with gratitude. Humanity, too, changes. People step outside, feeling the sun on their faces, realizing its warmth is not just physics, but comfort, meaning, and memory. A force so constant that it becomes invisible until the day it almost disappears. Perhaps the greatest lesson of this week of twilight is that certainty is an illusion. What seems eternal can falter. What seems guaranteed can vanish. Yet within that vulnerability lies a deeper truth. Life persists, Earth adapts, humans endure. And when the light returns, it feels like a second dawn, a reminder that even in cosmic uncertainty, Hope rises with the sun.